Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it reads like this. Hello my brother, how are you? So my story, it is a story of how I became a bodyguard to a man whom I can say is one of the most powerful pastors that I have ever come across in our country. So from a very long time as a bodybuilder, I ended up being a bouncer at this other certain club, and from there on I became employed by this other company. It was a private VIP security company, and working for that private VIP security company, we used to get to go to some places where we would get to see some of the most weird things that I have ever seen that rich people do. If it was only rich people that were doing all of this weird stuff, I could say that I do not mind, because they do not answer to anyone. They only believe that you are born to have fun and nothing else but to have fun. That is why they end up doing some of the most weird things that I have ever seen a human being doing. But what I came across is that when I was now a personal bodyguard for this other man of God, even right now, my brother, it is more like a movie. What happened at that time when I was waiting for that VIP security is that when I was told that there was this other man that I was supposed to start accompanying as his private security guard, this man, he was a man that should not be seen on the street picking up prostitutes or doing anything that could shed a bad light on him. So it was me who was going to become his run around guy. So first they had to test me and to see if I was honest enough. When they were satisfied that indeed I was honest enough, that was when I was taken to his other private house. And at this private residential house where no one stays there, not even a tenant, it is only him. I never seen him with his wife or his kids there. I'm not even sure if the wife knows that he is another private house where he does most of his weird stuff. When we got there for the interview, when I looked at the man the first time, when I was looking at his face was really familiar, but I could not quite picture it where I had seen that face. It was only after the formal introductions were done that was when I saw that this is one of those TV preachers, those ones that we call televangelists. He even used to appear on DSTV on one of the channels that they call the God channels in our country. So when I saw that this man, it is that man that I used to see on TV, I started respecting him. And when he looked at my CV and when he told me all of my job obligations, I could not even understand what was the meaning of all of those obligations, because it was as if I was about to get hired by a mafia, a drug lord, yet I was about to get hired by a man of God. First things first, I was not allowed to use my own phone. They took my phone, not like they were supposed to give it back to me. No, they just took it without any warning at all. Then they gave me another phone, and whatever I'll be doing on that phone, whenever the pastor wanted to review my phone, he would switch on this app and he would start to see everything that will be happening on my phone. No secrets at all when I was working for him. Even if I'll be speaking with my wife, when he wanted to, he could review those chats just to make sure that I was not exposing him. But as for someone who had worked with people that had weird characters, even if they are doing their weird things for the sake of the job that I was doing, you are not allowed to show the client that you do not like whatever you are about to do, because in our industry there is a lot of competition. And as for our bosses, those ones that run these VIP security companies, they make a lot of money out of this business. So for money to get in, you need to do whatever the client will be asking from you. And in this business that we were operating in, we do not cater for your local poor people. We only cater for the rich people. So if you give them a good service, then they are going to recommend your service to one of their friends. And one thing about rich people is that they do not shop around. Rather, what they do is that if they want to buy a car, they do not do like what we do. We go online and we start to look for a car. They ask from their friends where their friends purchased their last car and how the service was like. Then they will just exchange the contacts. That is how they buy whatever they would want to buy. So if you make a mistake, and if you make that mistake, then you will lose the contract, and none of your clients will ever recommend you to any of their friends. Rich people just operate like that. They operate as if they have to keep all the things that they do, all the services that they are given as a secret amongst the rich people. They do not want to mix and mingle with the poor people. They only mix and mingle with the poor people if they want to benefit anything from the poor people. Like in the case of that pastor that I used to be a private bodyguard for, the only reason that he used to come to the poor people, it was because his church, it was located in an area whereby there are a lot of poor people. He was staying in the suburbs. Then on Sunday, you would come to preach in that poor neighborhood. You would collect a lot of offerings. Then you would return back to the suburbs. They only use the poor people for their own benefit. And that is a fact, my brother, that these rich people, they only care about poor people when they are going to benefit from that relationship. So the other thing that I noticed when I was working as a private bodyguard is that money can buy you happiness. We can sit and lie and debate, but the truth of the matter is that money will always buy you happiness. Because what I found out is that today you can be speaking with someone who is an escort or a prostitute, will be in Russia today, then 2 days later she will be in your country giving you the best services. That is what money can do for you. So after that pastor, he had given me the interview, and after he had told me that he had hired me, he then started giving me a lot of questions, like if I was a born-again Christian. And weird enough, this pastor, anyone that works with him, has to be a born-again Christian. You have to be baptized. I was baptized in an indoor pool because of the house where he was at that time. When he was giving me the interview, there was an indoor pool, you know, those ones that are heated ones. When he asked me if I have never been baptized before, and when I said no, I have never been baptized, he said that as a man of God, I cannot work with you if you have never been baptized and if you have never received Jesus Christ as your personal savior. Right there, my brother, I was told to get ready to be baptized. And that is how I got baptized in the most expensive, luxurious swimming pool. It was an indoor swimming pool, my brother. And after that, we then started working for this pastor. The weird thing about these prophets of God, I do not know if they have come to that conclusion whereby they start to believe in the lie that they tell other people. These people, most of them, they are not prophets of God, but they honestly believe that they are sent by God. And these people, they are very dangerous, my brother. If you try to accuse them of them not being prophets of God, they can even kill you, because in their hearts, they honestly believe that they are indeed the true prophets of God. Like that pastor that I used to work for, he was working with a lot of journalists from around the world, the corrupt ones. He was giving them a lot of money, and those journalists, what they would do is that they would give him some of the stories that they will be working on in advance, such that when the breaking news will be on TV, that was when the members of his church will rewind and they will start to say, aha, but in such and such a year, Papa said that this was going to happen. So this is what the pastor used to do. He will be bribing a lot of journalists so that he can get the headlines before they even happen. And that is not an honest thing to do. That is being dishonest. But this man, he was so delusional. He believed that he was a prophet that was sent by God. And by paying all of these journalists so that he can get the headlines in advance, he was saying that he was only doing the good work of the Lord. And those are some of the things that I quickly found out about that guy. All the things that he was asking me to do, to repent, to confess all of my past sins, they were just the opposite of his character, because he was nothing but a sinful man. He is one of the most sinful guys that I have ever came across. And yet when he is in sin, he will be preaching to you about the word of God. I remember one night when I had gone with him to this other club, one of their clubs whereby only people that are allowed in there are wealthy people. After they had drank their alcohol, when I had taken him to the car, he was with two women. Whilst I was driving him to this other certain hotel, he was busy with those two women, and yet he was preaching to me about how sin is very bad. And all the times, my brother, when I would go with him to a hotel, then we had to go through the back. This was always done. He never checked in a hotel using the front desk. He was always checked in when he will be already in the room, like a private service, a weird private service, mind you. Maybe these prophets of God who believe that they are prophets of God, they are under a spell and they do not even see what they are doing. As well as for their followers, they are blinded. I don't know if they are blinded by a spirit or something, but they honestly believe that their prophets are truly sent by God. After I had been baptized and when I was working for him, I was then told that I had to go and pick up this other parcel. This is what the pastor used to do. But whenever he wanted me to go and pick up a parcel, there was someone else who would send me a location where that parcel would have been dropped, and I was supposed to go and pick up that parcel either at a house or wherever that parcel will be. And as someone who had been working in this industry for a very long time, when I saw all of those locations, immediately I knew that a small parcel that had to be picked up somewhere, it was just an AKA for a drug pick-up. So I would go there, Brother Nashi, with my fingers crossed, and I'll be praying at that time when I was still a Christian, before I had lost my heart because of all the things that I had seen happening in church. And I came to the conclusion that God, I do not think that this Christian God is for real, because of all the things that I saw being done in secret by the most holiest of the holiest Christians that used to say that they are holy. So I would be praying at that time when I was still a Christian. I would say, God, you know that I have a wife and I have 2 kids, and these drugs that I am going to pick up, please, Lord, they are not for me. Please do not let me get arrested, because if I get arrested, then it means that I am going to get fired. Sometimes my pastor and his friends, they will be gathered at this other lodge, and it was a quality lodge. It is not like one of your lodges whereby you just go in there, then you book and you just sleep overnight. No, those are the most expensive lodges, and they have a certain criteria whereby you have to meet those standards. And these people, I do not know how they know everything about you. Because once you walk in there, the moment that they punch you into the system, they will immediately know your net worth. They will know everything. If you have a big bank account or not, and if you do not have a big bank account, you won't even be allowed to be inside those premises. And purposely they make their rooms to be very expensive. And I bet you, my brother, if someone thinks that they are rich enough, your regular rich people, they can't even afford to stay one night there. In all of those lodges that I used to go with that prophet, even though I was not allowed inside, I would only wait for him at the reception area, or I would go and sleep at another guest house, because in that lodge, even if you are his private security, there is a door that you are not allowed to enter or to get past that door. But I can guarantee you, my brother, that at that lodge where they used to stay, if you are someone that goes and tries to shop, and whilst you are shopping, you are always checking the prices, then you cannot meet the criteria to be at that lodge, because it is very expensive. So they did all of their weird things behind the closed doors. Some of the secrets I cannot even confirm of the things that they were doing, because there was a space where I could not enter. Even if they had their bodyguards had to remain behind, or they had to be booked in another hotel that was close by to this other lodge where you used to go and sleep with some of his girlfriends. This man, my brother, they were drinking alcohol. This pastor, my brother, he is a drunkard. He drinks a lot of alcohol, and whenever you will be tipsy, he would start to say that, don't you know that alcohol can cure heart diseases? He said that if you drink enough whiskey, then you will never suffer from a heart attack. So he was taking all of that alcohol because he wanted to live for a very long time, whilst he will be taking care of the church. And whenever you will be drunk, he kept on saying that he wanted to leave all of the wealth that the church had accumulated to his sons. He kept on saying that before I die, I will try to destroy this church. Then I would make sure that my son will never become a pastor. There were nights, my brother, when he would cry alone in his room, not knowing if he was being visited by some evil spirits or what. But the way that he would be crying, it was the most scariest cry that I've ever heard in my life. And whenever they will be gathered together, my brother, I bet you that you would never want to be in that room where they will be, because even I have never been in that room when they will be gathered as rich people, but I think that there were a lot of weird things that were going on. I used to see some rich men entering into some rooms whilst they will be holding some weird toys, not knowing if these toys they were going to use it on some women or they were going to use those toys on themselves. But my brother, a lot of weird stuff was being done, and I am sure that if anyone will be caught up inside the room with this man, a lot of things will shock you that you will see. And whenever they are about to do all of their evil things, you would not even understand if these are human beings or if these are demons straight from hell. When I started to see all of this weird behavior that was coming out from the pastor and some of his prophetic friends, I then said to my wife, I cannot do it anymore, because when he started sleeping around with a lot of married women, desperate women would come to church on the hope that God was going to give them a new life. Then the pastor would take advantage of them and promise to marry them. That is what he would do at all the times. Each and every time he would laugh when he would say that when he was in bed with a married woman, he would promise to marry that woman that he would be sleeping with. And this demonic act that he used to do, he would do it at this other house of his. I don't know if he still have that house or not. My brother, in the bedroom at that property where you used to sleep with all of these married women, the bedding is not allowed to be changed. For all the years that I worked for this man, my brother, I never saw the sheets or the blankets or the pillows on that bed being changed. And this man, he is a very rich man, but that bed, my brother, it is quite an old bed that even a poor man will say that, no, I cannot do this, because by sleeping on that bed, you'll be inviting the spirit of poverty. But whenever you would go with a married woman to that house of his, you would get into that embarrassing you would get into that bed, my brother. I don't know if this was part of his rituals or not. And when he would sleep with the women, he would just leave the bed like that. And when he would say, go and clean up the house, but I was not allowed to clean the other rooms or to touch the bed. I would only enter into the bedroom. And when I would enter into that bedroom, my brother, I had to wear a face mask. And I used to wear all of those masks, my brother, before the pandemic, because when I was still working for him, when he would give me an instruction to go and clean up the bedroom will be smelling like the example that I can give you. Let's say if a dog dies and if it is just dumped, when you are passing through that area where the dog's dead body would have been dumped, then there is that kind of smell that will be coming out. That is the kind of a smell that will be inside that bedroom. So I would go there, open the window, spray some air freshener so as to clean up the bedroom. I was only allowed to clean the floor, the walls, and to open up the window and close the windows again. But as for the bed, I was not even allowed to touch or to sit on the bed. In that bedroom, my brother, there is even a hidden CCTV camera. He monitors that bedroom, my brother, 24/7. Sometimes when he'll be in his office, he would be looking at the bedroom. I do not even know why he kept on monitoring his bedroom, knowing that there is no one except for him that enters into that bedroom. As for that house, my brother, it was one of the dirtiest house on the outside. It is a very beautiful house. When you pass through that house, it is a very beautiful house. The lawn is well taken care of. Even the flowers, they are very beautiful. But once you get inside that house, I think that the house, since it has been used by this pastor, or whenever he started using it, it has never been cleaned. The only room that is cleaned, it is the bedroom, and I was not allowed to touch the bed. I don't know if this house is where his God lives, or maybe the devil lives, or what, but I have seen some of the worst stuff. I am not someone who is an everyday going person, but I believe that cleanliness is close to godliness. But that house, my brother, it is like a house of horror. Each and every room, it is full of, and I don't even understand why most of the women would agree to sleep at such a dirty place. But I don't know, maybe this pastor, he uses some juju or something. But when I was working for him, my brother, I have never seen any woman coming back to complain about that house. It was as if they had been taken to a 5-star hotel, but maybe they do not even know that this man, he is not a godly man. This man, my brother, he still has his own TV channel, he still has his own church, and still people believe in him, and they believe that he was sent by God. Even in our country, they are still crazy about him. He is one of the top prophets from our country.